I'm currently on a 4-day road trip counting cards, and let's just say things could be going better. Last video, in part 1 of my road trip, I left off where I had just ended a 5-hour session here at Wind Creek, Chicago, where I just lost $478. And if you think that is bad, previously on the day before, I played another 2 sessions where I lost a cumulative of $565 in another 5 hours of counting. So, at the start of my first ever card counting road trip, I am already down $1,043 with another 2.5 days ahead of me. I'll be honest, after this rough start to the trip, I was feeling pretty discouraged. It felt like every time I was in a good spot and got my big bets out, I was dealt a bad hand, or the dealer would just flip an instant 21. Something I've been going for with this channel is to be more relatable to the average Joe counter. I'm just a solo dude playing with my own money, no team bankroll, no outside investors. Having a relatable story is nice and all, until you are on a big downswing like this, and don't have other people to counterbalance your losing. There is some hope at the end of the tunnel though. After wrapping up my session at Wind Creek, I was now on my way to the casino with arguably the best game on the trip. I start the 2.5-hour drive to my first ever tribal casino, Firekeepers. Firekeepers was the stop I was looking forward to the most on this trip. They not only have a great 8-deck game that I was planning on mostly playing, but they also have a phenomenal double-deck game that I was planning on hitting the next day when I came back. When I was gathering my intel on this casino, I saw how other counters before me had been caught by Firekeepers by them reading their license plates. I guess Firekeepers has license plate scanners at the front of their parking lot. Then once they got their license plate numbers, they were then able to get their name and addresses and all that fun personal stuff. So anyway, here I am walking through a field to get to the casino because my car got parked at the hotel next door. Got through the first hurdle of the license plate scanners, and now I'm walking into the front door. The guy at the front desk then asked to see my ID. Ah great, I'm gonna be caught right at the cusp. And he just glances at it with the good old eye check. They don't even have ID scanners at the front desk. Ha 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 ha. Firekeepers rocks. I feel 10 times better when I can get into a casino without being scanned. So, time to grind. I wouldn't usually show a neutral count, so only a $10 bet, but this first one is a fun one. Plus, maybe it's nice to ease into the bigger bets. I get dealt a pair of 8s against dealer 5. 8s always split according to basic strategy, so we will be splitting these two bad boys. First 8 gets a 5, so stand on 13. Second 8 gets another 8, so I split again. My second 8 gets a 10, so an easy stand. Third 8 gets a 3 for 11, so I double down for 10 more dollars. And this just shows how any hand can turn into a big one. This $10 hand turned into 40 total. Imagine if I had like 300 out there. Get a 7 on the 11, so basically our only hope is a dealer bust, which is a good chance against a dealer 5. Splitting 8s against a dealer 9 or 10, however, would be pretty scary and could lead to quite the devastating hand. Dealer flips over a 3 for 8, 7 for 15, then a 4 for 19, and just like that, I lost all 3 hands. Well, silver lining is, at least the count went up, so I now slide out 2 bets of $25. Let's do it. Dealer has a 6, and I have 2 beautiful hands, a 20 and an 11. Double the 11 for 14 and stand on the 20. Dealer ends up busting, so plus $75 on the hand. Count drops back down now, so I lower back to table minimum. Fast forward 2 hands, and the count jumps up by 7, just like that. With a running 11 and roughly 4 decks left, I put out my true 2 bet of 2 hands of $50. I get 2 12s against dealer 7. Hit, and eventually bust the first hand. Second hand, I pull out the hit, 21 technology, and then dealer bust, so a push on the hand. Count jumps up, so now 2 hands of $75. Dealer has a 9, and I have an 18 on my first hand. stand. Second hand, I hit into a 15 and then a bust, so now it's dealer's turn. And of course, dealer flips over a 10, so minus 150 on the hand. With the running 9 and now 3 decks left, I put out 2 more $75 bets and politely ask for 2 blackjacks.
2 blackjacks, please.
Hey, yeah. Right? Go.
Neither one of these can be a blackjack.
First hand, I have an 8, and second hand, I have 2 8s against dealer 10. Hit the first 8 and receive a 10, so I stand. Now it's time for these 2 troublemakers. I split the 8s for $75 more, so a $225 hand. First hand gets a 2 for 10. The count is now below a true 4, so no double on the 10 versus dealer 10. So I just hit and get a 7 for 17. Stand. Second 8 gets another 8. Are you kidding me? I buy in for $100 more because I ran out of money on the table. At this point in the hand, I had that sinking feeling in my stomach that I knew I was going to end up losing big. Over the past 36 hours, every time I had a big hand like this, the dealer would always end up beating me. Splitting 8s against the dealer 10 is the mathematically correct move, but it forces you to put more money on the table, when the dealer has potentially the worst card they could have. In this moment, every time I put more money on the table, it felt like I was just lighting it on fire. Well, I ignite my lighter and I put down $75 more to split again. $300 hand. First 8 gets a 10 for 18. Stand. Second 8 gets an ace for 19. Stand. I now have 4 hands out there. A 19, an 18, a 17, and another 18. For $300 on the line. And the dealer has a 10. And of course, flips another 10. Minus $300. If I asked what is the worst hand you can be dealt with a true 5, what do you think you would say? Obviously the dealer would have a 10 or an ace. Dealer having blackjack is pretty bad, it's an instant loss, but you can only lose 100% of your original bet. A pair of 8s against a dealer 10 definitely feels like one of the worst spots to be in. Luckily here, I was spreading to 2 spots, so instead of having $150 on the pair of 8s, I only had $75. So I guess it could have been worse. Fast forward to the next shoe where brighter things are about to happen. I put another $50 bet out there, and at least I get a blackjack. Hey! Dealer's got to pay out this side bet, and then she'll pay me my $75 for the blackjack. Wait, why is she flipping her cards? Of course she also has a blackjack. I can't even win when I pull a dang blackjack. The negative thoughts are really starting to seep back in. Voiceover Frog is feeling pretty negative. Maybe we should do a live listen-in at the table where things might be more positive.
Yeah, we can get it going. Positivity, remember? You're young, you gotta have positivity.
I'm the most negative person in the world.
Well, I was too, and it doesn't help.
When what?
Yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
Not this hand again. I got PTSD.
Okay, well.
At least you have a 7 this time.
Well, there's normally people like me. Normally there's lots of people playing at my table. I mean, in all fairness, it's a 7 this time.
Yeah, but I got PTSD from last time where I lost 300 on
Well,
a
I thought
hand.
you were really having it, and I was.
Remember when I had a bunch of 8s earlier and I lost 300?
So let's make it up, 14.
Hit. 18! Oh.
I know, I would like that, but remember we got security watching us.
No, they would have already got me. I'll stand on the 8.
18.
This hand
Hey,
stinks. Little, baby.
Little. There you go, 16.
That's too little.
That's what she said. Just kidding.
I don't like this table. I'm getting bad vibes. Baby card. I think I busted, right?
Yeah, you
Can I touch that 6 and slide it down?
7 and 7. I actually thought I had it for you.
Ugh. And then you're gonna flip a 2 and then a 10.
Get out of
Ooh,
here.
I won $10.
You gotta be positive. We got this. Sorry, I don't want to have the vibes. Now quit talking like a very old.
I'll stop talking too.
Okay, voiceover frog's back. Let me know if you like some of the live table talk. I think a mix of both voiceover and the table talk is pretty nice in these videos. This dealer especially was cool. She had a great vibe at the table, but sadly she was essentially dealing a no-hitter, so all the other players at the table kept getting up after getting struck out. At this point in the session, I was now down $475 and hit the point where I wasn't even really feeling emotions. When I embarked on this road trip, I had high hopes and expectations. Now that I had been punched in the mouth by day 1 and currently day 2, my expectations were starting to drop to the point of basically expecting to lose every big hand. I was filled with apathy, but I also had to pee, so I got up and went to the bathroom to reset and sat down at a fresh table. Played 7 hands where I won 2, lost 2, and pushed 3, but the count is now a running 6 with 6 decks left, so 2 hands of $25. Slightly bad camera angle here, so I'll throw card graphics on screen. I'm still up in the air if I like the card graphics or not. I think it kinda clutters the screen up a bit, but it's not easy getting hidden camera footage in a casino, so sometimes some of the cards can get cut off. So if you have a strong preference either way, please let me know in the comments. I get dealt a 15 and 9 against dealer 6. Stand on the 15 and double the 9 for now 18 total. Dealer flips a 4 for 10, 3 for 13, then a 4 for 17, so win the double and lose the single. Count jumps up even higher with all the small cards, so I put out 2 hands of now $50. Call me a hand model because I have 2 beautiful hands against the dealer bust card, a 20 and a 10 against dealer 4. Stand on the 20 and double the 10 for now a 15. Dealer flips a 10 over for 14, then a 6 for 20. Can I catch a break? Now I lost the double and pushed the single, so minus $100 on the hand. Put out 2 more hands of $50, and hopefully 19 is good because I get a 19 and another 19 against dealer 10.
Hopefully 19 is good.
Well, there's 3 things in life that are certain. Death, taxes, and dealer flips a 10 for 20, so that's minus $100. Count drops back down now, and I only have $40 in front of me, so I throw it all out there, and at least hit a blackjack. Little did I know, this blackjack was going to be the spark of my craziest streak so far on my card counting journey. True won, so I put a $25 bet out there, and get dealt a 10 against dealer 4. Double for $50 total, and get a 3 for 14. It can never be easy, can it? Dealer flips a 2 for 6, 10 for 16, then a 7 for 23 and a bust, so that's plus $50 on the hand. Next hand is quite the easy one. 20 against a dealer 5. I stand. Dealer flips a 6 for 11, 2 for 13, then a 10 for the bust, and that's a 3rd win in a row. Lots of small cards drawn and hoping to keep the win streak going, so I slide out now 2 hands of $50. Hand 1 gets a 15, and hand 2 is a 13 against dealer 6. Needing a bust from the dealer, and he does just that with a draw to 22, plus 100 on the hand. Count now calls for my max bet of 2 hands of $75.
Stack it one more time. That surely won't backfire. Never has. Come on, Ace.
Get dealt an ace on our second hand, ooh, and hit a blackjack, let's go. First hand is a 16 against dealer 10, and basic strategy says you should hit this hand. But if you are counting cards, this is the second most profitable deviation that you can use. At any running count, you are supposed to stand on your 16s against a dealer 10. So, I stand on the first hand and get paid $112.50 on the second. Still need some help from the dealer for the first hand, and he flips a 3 for 13, 2 for 15, then a 10 for 25. Let's go! That is another $75. And just like that, I have made $422.50 in the past 5 rounds. Things are starting to look up for the frog. Count lowered a bit, so back down to 2 hands of 50. First hand, I stand the 17 against dealer 8. In second hand, I have a 12, so I hit and hit a pretty good 6. Dealer flips a 5 for 13, then a 10 for 23, and another bust. I just won another $100. Nothing like a huge winning streak to build the confidence back up after all that losing. Keep the 2 hands of 50 out there and get an ace on the second hand. Ah, not quite. Hit the first hand into a 16 and stand on the soft 20 against the dangerous dealer deuce. No way this win streak can continue, right? Dealer flips an ace for a soft 13, a 10 for a now hard 13, then another 10 for the bust. Come on, let's go. That's $100 coming my way. Sadly, with all the high cards out, the count is now a true 1, so I lower down to just a $25 bet. At least I get a pretty good hand though, with a soft 19 against dealer 9. Dealer flips over another 9 under, so I win, what is this, like 12 hands in a row now? This is crazy. Keep the true 1 bet of $25 out there, and hit a blackjack! This dealer is my new best friend. Because of this huge winning streak, I decided to, still not tip him, I guess. Next hand, stand on the 16 against dealer 3. Dealer flips a 10 for 13, then another 10 for 23, and this is 14 wins in a row. Next and final hand of this dream shoe, I have an 8 against dealer 6. Hit a 3 for 11, then another 3 for 14. Dealer's turn, and he flips a 10 for 16, and then a 9 for the bust, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you go from down $600 to now up $75 in one single shoe. All it takes is winning 15 hands in a row. What did I just witness? That was awesome. I'm adding a record here to commemorate this moment. My new most consecutive hands won in a row is now 15. I don't think this record will be broken for a while. After the shoe, I went to color up, and the other players at the table were all just kind of looking at me because they wanted me to stick around to place the cut card again. They thought I had the magic touch. I stuck around for them, then colored up, ending the session up $75 after almost 2.5 hours of play. What a crazy feeling that was, swinging from down over $600 to up $75 in one single shoe. This is where I called it for day 2 of my road trip, ending the day with almost 8 hours of counting cards done. Sadly, my $75 win couldn't make up for my big loss earlier in the day, so I was still down over $400 on day 2 of my trip. With day 1 added in, I was now down $968 after 2 days of this formidable road trip. Went back to my hotel to sleep for the night, with what I thought was the highlight of my trip already over. But little did I know, I would be up against a legend of these parts the very next day. I woke up on day 3 of the trip feeling born anew. I had ran the gauntlet of day 2 and was still riding the high of that huge win streak. Ate some free breakfast, which is always plus EV, and headed back out there to get an early shift at good old Firekeepers. Got to the casino, and this was a Friday, so they had changed their table minimums to $15, which will slightly mess with the bet spread. Sat down at the start of a fresh shoe, and I asked if this was the lucky table.
Might not deal the fastest, but I am a good cheerleader.
Not exactly what you want to hear as a card counter, but you know, I'm a vibe guy, so let's play some. The slower dealer got subbed out pretty quickly after I sat down, so we're now with a faster dealer, which is always a plus. Played for a bit and the count jumped up to call for my true 2 bet, so I put out 2 hands of $50. Probably wouldn't get many modeling jobs with these hands, a 13 and 14 against dealer 8. Hit the first until eventually a bust, and hit the second hand into an instant bust. Count jumped up at least on the hand, so now I slide out my max bet, 2 hands of $75. Ooh, an ace on the second hand, and blackjack, let's go. And our first hand is 2 nines against dealer 9, so we're shaping up for quite the fun hand. According to basic strategy, you split 9s against dealer 2 through 9, except at dealer 7. One of the trickier hands to memorize in my opinion. Split the 9s here, and my camera angle was bad, so please don't yell at me. On my first 9, I got a 10 for 19, and second 9 gets a 7 for 16, then hit again for now an 18. Not too bad. Get paid $112.50 for the blackjack, and now it's the dealer's turn. Dealer flips a 5 for 14, then a 6 for 20, and I end up actually losing money on the hand. With all the small cards drawn, I reduced down to 2 bets of $50. And look at that, back-to-back blackjacks on my second hand. First hand is still the trouble child, however, and ends up busting, so only won $25 total. Count drops even further to now a true 1, so I go down to just 1 hand of $50. And look who is back, my new most hated hand. A pair of 8s against dealer 10. What is up with this casino and dealing me this dang hand?
Oh shit, here we go again.
I gotta split these, don't I?
I begrudgingly throw out another $50 to split.
It feels so wrong.
I'll get a nice little 2 on the first 8 at least. Then a nice 10, okay, not too bad. Second 8 gets a 6, then a 4 for 18. Alright, not too bad. Dealer flips a 5 for 15, then a 10 for the bust. Hey, look at that, actually won with the pair of 8s. Plus $100 on the hand. Count lowers with all the high cards drawn, so back down to table minimum. Fast forward a hand where I lost $15, and now look at this new deviation I added to my repertoire. When I was learning to count cards and hit the point of learning deviations, I just looked up illustrious 18 on Google and learned these 18. These are the most profitable deviations to learn, so honestly, learning more than these 18 isn't that necessary. But since I bought the Blackjack apprenticeship membership, I might as well take advantage of their charts and add some new deviations to my tool belt. This hand, I have an 8 against dealer 6, and this is typically just a hit, but if the true count is 2 or above, it's actually more profitable to double. So I excitedly slide out another $30 to double. And I get a 10 for 18. Dealer's turn, and he flips a 7, ace, ace, something, what is that? A 2 for 17 total, and look at that. This deviation made me an extra $30. Thanks, BJA. Count now calls for my true 2 bet of 2 hands of $50. Get dealt a 10 and 19 against dealer 5. Double the 10 for 18 and stand on the 19. Dealer flips a 10 and another 10, and I just won $100 on the last hand of the shoe. Jump forward now to the end of the very next shoe, and this shoe was one of those where the dealer was making magic out of every hand. Well, I got the chance to make some good money on this hand with 2 doubles, an 11 and 10 against dealer 4. I put out another $150, so $300 total. On the first hand, I get a tiny little 3 for 14. In the second hand, gets a 5 for 15. Are you kidding me with this crap? Only chance now is for a dealer bust. Dealer flips a 10 for 14, come on high card. Then a 6 for 20, I can't catch a break. Minus $300 on the hand. I muster up the strength to put another $150 out there. And get dealt an 18 and 12 against dealer 8. Stand on the 18 and hit the 12 into a 19. Alright, I'll take that. Most likely a push and a win. What do you know? Dealer flips a 3 for 11, then a 10 for 21. I'm starting to think I have some sort of dark energy cloud hanging around me. I asked the dealer an important question.
Is this table cursed?
Yes.
Okay, but why was the dealer so cool about that? Man. Nothing like sitting at a cursed blackjack table, losing hundreds of dollars. I only had some ragtag chips that totaled up to 100 left in front of me, so I went all in one hand. I think I'm finally going to have a chance to win a hand with this 20 against a 10, until dealer also flips a 10 over. With the count now negative, I took this as my sign to leave this cursed table. This was a rough session. I ended up losing $775 in 2 hours of play. I can only record for 2 or 3 hours before my storage fills up, so I decided to head back to the hotel and transfer my files and come back later tonight. Whenever I'm going to a casino for the first time, I will always look them up on Casino 411 and check out their rules, and people can also leave notes about how their experience was, and just little things that you feel like you might want other card counters to be aware of. One way this has already helped me was the license plate warning, but there was also some talk in the chats about an infamous dealer, let's just say Ted, so I'm not going to pull a casino and share this man's personal information. Ted is a dealer at Firekeepers, and Ted knows how to count cards. He must be running for Firekeeper of the Month or something, because if you sit down at Ted's table and he realizes you're counting cards, he will rat you out to his bosses. If you've never counted cards before, you might be thinking, well, don't most dealers know how to count cards? No, they don't. It's usually just all on surveillance to keep an eye out and find card counters. Pit bosses also know the signs of it, but very rarely will a pit boss make a move on you without double checking with surveillance first. And even more rare is when a dealer would catch you. I personally have never had a dealer say anything about it, so for the past day or so, I was cautiously keeping my eye out for Ted. Well, after transferring my files, I got back to the casino that night and really wanted to focus on back counting. Might as well use all the tools I can to get an edge. I see a freshly shuffled table about to be dealt, so I go behind the table, and on the very first hand of the shoe, the dealer pulls a 6-card 21, and all 3 people at the table clear out. I think, well hey, an empty table and almost a true 1 already. I sit down, and the dealer, I swear, looks me up and down, almost like an eagle would look down and gauge its prey one last time before diving through the air to kill it. After this dealer gets done sizing me up, I glance my eyes to the right to look at his name tag, and what do you know? It's Ted. I just sat down at Ted's table, and I'm now stuck on what to do. I just bought in for $300, so obviously I should play a couple hands to not make it weird. I decided to put down a $25 bet, so if the count goes any higher, I can just jump up to a natural $50, and Ted won't be on me right away. I get dealt a 9 against Ted's 4. Double down for now $50 on the hand, and I hit a 19. Ted's turn, and he flips a 9 for 13, then a 10 for 23 and a bust. And even better news, there is a new dealer standing behind him to sub him out. Ted supposedly has to go deal Baccarat now for 2 hours. That is the story of how I beat the infamous dealer Ted at Firekeepers. The rest of the night couldn't compete with the one hand I took off of Ted, and I ended up playing for 2 more hours that night and finished the session down $30. Day 3 of the road trip was a rough one. I ended up losing $805 in 4 hours of counting cards. And to some, this might seem like a crazy amount to lose, but these numbers are all consistent with the math. When I hit my crazy upswing at the start of my journey, I was worried for the inevitable downswing back to EV. And it looks like I'm in the midst of it. Can't be too upset with losing this amount of money though, when I am still technically above my EV for my entire card counting career. I went to bed at the end of day 3 with 1 more day ahead of me. I woke up on the final day of my road trip, and the plan today was to say see you later to Firekeepers and head to 4 Winds, New Buffalo on my way back home. I wasn't planning on stopping, but I saw there was another smaller casino literally on the way to New Buffalo, so I decided to check out 4 Winds Hartford on the way. I walked inside and there wasn't even an open blackjack table in there. There was like 3 old ladies in the pit playing Texas Hold'em. so I decided it'd probably be pretty obvious when the one young person, younger than 60, walked in the casino and asked to open a blackjack table. So I just left and figured I would have a better time at the bigger casino. 4 wins, New Buffalo. Since this was my last session on my trip and I was down big, I told myself I would only back count and sit down at tables with true 1 or above. I'm a positive guy today, no playing negative or neutral counts. I ended up playing here for 3.5 hours, and most of it was just spent back counting, and I legit made all my money this session from this one hand towards the end of the session. The count was a running 7 with a little over 1 deck left, so it called for my max bet of 2 hands of $75. I made the joke I was going all in the hand before and I won with some white chips, so now I had like 8 $1 chips that I threw on top of my $75 bet, so it's $158 total. First hand is a pair of 9s against dealer 5, so a great spot to split. After buying in for 100 more to split, I get 10 on my first 9 for 19. Second 9 gets a 2, so time to throw $79 more down to double. I now have $316 on the table. The 11 sadly gets a 2, but it doesn't even matter, because the dealer goes 10 into 10 for a bust, and I just made $316. Not long after this hand, I was at another table, and a pit boss asked to see my ID, so I figured it was a good time to head out and end my first ever card counting road trip. And wow, was she a doozy. I ended up playing just over 20 hours and 4 days of counting, losing a grand total of $1,586.50. This is a huge swing back down to EV after this trip, but this is all in the math, and that just means I'm due for a big win next time, right? Speaking of which, I'm about to go on my first ever trip to the card counter mecca, Las Vegas, woo! So what better time than to hit a crazy upswing? If you want to see me maybe win some money, make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you want to see me keep losing money, then also stay tuned for maybe that. And if you made it this far into the video, you are a great person, and I thank you for the support. But for now, this is Frog, signing off.